feel like that's a bit windy there. You know, so, but he's a donkey. The guy's a donkey, yeah? Do you like that?
Twitter all the time. He's on his yacht all the time, but guess where he's not? In the ring fighting me, so he can talk all the he wants, but the notorious MMA is scared of Jake Joseph Paul from...
Jake Paul is at it again, raising eyebrows and stirring up drama. Ever since his victory over Mike Tyson, he's been acting like a self-proclaimed king of the ring, flaunting his fame and fortune like they're rewards for anyone daring or foolish enough to face him. His arrogance has become his brand, plastered across podcasts, videos, and promotional antics. And it's not just his opponents who are in his crosshairs.
Okay, wait, so...
But yeah, let's do it. You're going to become WWE champion.
I think so, too. I mean, bro, the ultimate goal...
Jake's been taking shots at the sports legends, Mayweather, McGregor, Khabib, and more, unleashing a barrage of trash talk. But yesterday, Jake Paul pulled a stunt that redefined over the top, even for him. Enter his latest Instagram post, a spectacle engineered by Most Valuable Promotions, his personal hype machine. MVP.
He's like 34 or something.
I think he's like 32, maybe 30.
That's old.
31, 32.
That's old. He fits.
He thrives on making Jake impossible to ignore, deploying viral stunts,
MVP, his brainchild, operates on a pretty simple
that leave boxing purists fuming. This time, they delivered in spades. The post featured Jake, grinning like he just conquered the world, standing front and center in a display that oozed confidence and chaos. It was equal parts arrogance and marketing genius, the kind of content you begrudgingly admit works. With his larger-than-life persona, Jake Paul keeps proving one thing: love him or hate him, you just can't ignore him. Jake Paul has once again shattered any notions of subtlety with his latest Instagram post. Center stage, he's grinning ear to ear, clutching a literal bag of cash like it's a trophy, oozing self-satisfaction. But the real kicker, behind him stands a hilariously exaggerated lineup of boxing's biggest names, all cartoonishly drawn and
kind of went right down the list of joking. He's kidding. You're not supposed to believe any of that to be true.
Waiting like eager fans for their chance at the Jake Paul show. Picture Ryan Garcia, Floyd Mayweather, Gervonta Davis, and Conor McGregor, icons in their own right, depicted as if they're at the DMV, desperate for their golden ticket. The audacity is almost poetic. Floyd Mayweather, the man who makes GDP-level money from exhibition fights, reduced to vying for Jake's attention. Conor McGregor, whose garage likely has a separate wing for yachts, waiting in line. It's absurd, over-the-top, and undeniably effective. This isn't a fluke, it's a masterstroke from Most Valuable Promotions. Jake's entire persona thrives on this narrative. He's the prize, the walking payday, the human lottery ticket. MVP's post doubles down on the idea that Jake is the gravitational force of boxing, the man everyone wants a piece of. Outrageous and genius in equal measure, it's exactly the kind of chaos that keeps Jake Paul impossible to ignore. While the execution was undeniably over the top, the strategy behind Jake Paul's latest stunt is spot on. People are talking, debates are flying, and...
How much money could you reasonably walk out of this fight with?
350 million.
$350 million.
Yes.
Wow. I know you love money, right? I mean,
it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
What do you do with all this money?
And, you know, cash is king.
Do you have an ATM card?
I'm the human ATM.
Jake is thriving in the spotlight. But here's the real question: do legends like Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor actually need Jake Paul? Floyd Mayweather, with a $450 million fortune, is a walking cash machine. Known as Money, Floyd has spent years turning mega fights and appearance fees into a financial empire. He doesn't need Jake's antics to stay relevant. If anything, stepping into the ring with Jake Paul would be a novelty act for Floyd, not a necessity. It's hard to imagine him considering Jake as anything more than a payday sideshow. Then there's Conor McGregor, whose $200 million net worth is built on ventures like proper No. 12 whiskey and lucrative business deals. Conor has graced the biggest stages in combat sports, from his historic UFC bouts to his blockbuster fight against Mayweather. Fighting Jake Paul wouldn't elevate his career. It would feel...
There's a chance that Conor McGregor will not fight again for the UFC?
I don't know. Conor McGregor's got a lot of money. And, you know, anytime we get Conor, we'll be happy to, we'll be thrilled when he comes and fights. But
feel like a step down. Sure, the fight might generate buzz and sell tickets, but for legends like Floyd and Conor, Jake Paul isn't exactly a career highlight. Here's the twist. Jake Paul knows these legends don't need him, and he doesn't care. For Jake, it's not about facts, it's about attention. He thrives on controversy, playing the villain, and getting people to argue about him. He's not just targeting one boxer, he's swinging at the entire industry, loudly proclaiming himself as the guy who matters now. And the crazy part? It's working. Love him or hate him, Jake Paul knows exactly how to keep the spotlight on him. Take the buzz around his potential fight with Conor McGregor. It's not because Conor needs Jake, far from it. For Jake, this fight is a childhood dream. For months, whispers of a showdown between the YouTuber-turned-boxer and the Irish MMA icon have been swirling across the internet. The hype dates back to 2021, when Jake began his signature trash-talking campaign aimed squarely at McGregor. From mocking Conor's loss to Dustin Poirier...
I understand that. But the engagement that you gave to Conor, I gotta assume he was kidding. It was so outlandish. He was kidding.
To issuing bold challenges on social media, Jake pulled every trick in his playbook. Whether or not the fight happens, Jake's already succeeded at his true goal, keeping everyone talking about him. Jake Paul's playbook to grab Conor McGregor's attention was in full effect. While Conor mostly ignored him, credible insiders suggested there were some behind-the-scenes talks. Combat sports insider Ariel Helwani hinted in early 2023 that informal discussions about a potential fight had taken place. But let's face it, the hurdles were enormous. For one, Conor's fight purse demands were astronomical. Hardcore fans weren't sold on Jake's boxing resume, and scheduling issues compounded the problem. McGregor was still recovering from his brutal leg injury against Dustin Poirier in 2021, while Jake was busy fighting a mix of retired legends and MMA veterans to build his career. The timing wasn't just off, it was a logistical nightmare. Then there's the UFC factor. Conor remains under contract with Dana White's organization.
He doesn't do what Conor couldn't. I think, it only makes sense for him to want that money fight, but I just don't know how serious he's taking fight.
And if there's one thing everyone knows about Dana, it's that he's not exactly eager to let his biggest star step into Jake Paul's circus. Dana White isn't exactly a fan of his fighters stepping into boxing rings. Unless the money is astronomical, think McGregor versus Mayweather level cash. At the time, Jake's record of boxing, retired MMA fighters and YouTube stars wasn't exactly a compelling pitch for Dana or Conor. But let's not fool ourselves. This fight isn't off the table. If there's one thing Conor McGregor loves, it's attention, and a paycheck resembling a small country's GDP certainly wouldn't hurt his interest. Jake Paul thrives on chaos, and his relentless taunts, calling Conor McGregor washed up and dragging his personal life into the spotlight, might eventually push Conor to take the bait. Let's be honest, McGregor stepping into Jake's world would dominate headlines for months, giving both men the attention they crave. But if this fight happens, is Jake Paul setting himself up for the most humiliating moment of his career? On paper, the odds don't look great for Jake. While he's shown improvement as a boxer, his most notable wins have been against opponents either past their prime or new to boxing. Conor McGregor, by contrast, is an elite striker who has spent years at the pinnacle of combat sports, going toe-to-toe with some of the best in the world. Sure, McGregor's recent MMA record has been shaky, but boxing relies on precision, timing, and ring IQ, areas where Conor excels. Just look at his 2017...
There's got to be worried of that, so, but I just think, mate, Mayweather and that is normal, and be careful and be in his face, and I just think it's something, mate,
Fight against Floyd Mayweather. Despite stepping into a completely different sport, McGregor held his own for several rounds against one of the greatest boxers of all time. That kind of skill and adaptability isn't something Jake can easily match, no matter how much hype surrounds him. Jake Paul has never faced anyone close to Conor McGregor's level. If he steps into the ring with Conor, he's not just risking a loss, He's enrolling in a master class as the student who forgot to study. Then there's McGregor's legendary mental game. Conor doesn't just fight opponents, he dismantles them mentally before the first bell rings. From Jose Aldo to Eddie Alvarez, McGregor has gotten into the heads of some of the toughest fighters in the world. And it shows. Jake might think he's the king of trash talk, but Conor wrote the playbook. If these two ever square off, Jake could find himself outmatched.
Makes sense for him to want that money fight, but I just don't know how serious he's taking fighting at all. And I don't know how serious the fighting world's taking him. Like, who knows if he still has that same appeal.
Long before they even lace up the gloves. Physically, the matchup doesn't favor Jake either. While he's bigger, McGregor's speed, precision, and ability to create angles make him a nightmare for someone like Jake. Jake's usual strategy relies on size and power, but against a fighter as sharp and explosive as Conor, that likely won't be enough. A well-timed counter from Conor McGregor could turn the fight into a highlight reel moment against Jake Paul. While Jake's overconfidence is his trademark, it could also be his downfall. Jake thrives on believing he can beat anyone, but arrogance doesn't work against someone like McGregor, who has faced and defeated the world's best. If Jake steps into the ring thinking he'll school Conor, he might end up with a harsh reality check and possibly a viral knockout to match. Still, you have to give Jake credit. Whether this fight happens or not, he's already winning in one way: keeping people talking. Love him or hate him, Jake Paul knows how to command attention. This potential clash with McGregor is just another way he's staying relevant in the spotlight. Whether it's brilliance or madness, one thing is certain: Jake Paul isn't going anywhere. And neither is the chaos he brings to the world of combat sports.